The madness has descended upon Northeast Ohio, where we welcome you to downtown Cleveland. First round coverage of the NCAA tournament. And we begin with this 2-15 matchup, the Alabama Crimson Tide and Robert Morris, as they step under the bright lights. Look at where the two teams fit in the brackets. Winner of this one moving on to take on the winner between St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. And with that, we say welcome. A privilege to be back with you here courtside here in Cleveland alongside Jim Spinarkle. I'm Spiro Ditas. We'll hear from John Rothstein in just a couple of minutes. What a run it's been for the Crimson Tide. Final Four team last year as Nate Oates has taken them to new heights, and now the Colonials trying to come to Cleveland looking to pull what would be a stunner. Yeah, and Robert Morris has had a great year this year. Clearly a good year. They're a good offensive basketball team, but they haven't run into the caliber of Alabama, who can go up and down the floor, really score points in a hurry. Robert Morris has to make sure these first 4 minutes are under control for them defensively.
Well, the waiting is just about over. Andy Toole, just a tremendous run, getting this program back into the dance already. The all-time winningest coach in the history of the university. Played for Fran Dunphy at Penn. And he will start with his backcourt of Cam Woods, guy who has the ball in his hands in all the big moments. So Majafo, Smith, Dickerson, and Fogueras, who was just sensational with the Horizon League Player of the Year award. And the All-American Mark Sears, the headliner for the Crimson Tide. And there is Nate Oates. So how far they got last year before their dream run ended against Connecticut at the Final Four. Can this team potentially take that next step? Terrific officiating crew: Michael Irving, Evan Burrows, and Chad Barlow. And the madness has begun here in Cleveland. Alabama and Robert Morris in the first of 4.
Length, strength, and quickness as they go upstairs.
And the Crimson Tide wasting no time. Clifford Omori.
So don't get rattled if you're Robert Morris on the first play of the game right there. Very important for them to just be patient with the basketball, run their sets. Here we go again. Nice defensive play, though. They were looking to go upstairs.
How the Colonials deal with the length and the athleticism is going to be a big part of the story. Big piece of injury news for the Crimson Tide. John Rothstein coming into the tournament.
Yes, Spiro, some big injury news for Alabama, but Grant Nelson for Alabama is available today, according to Nate Oates, but obviously he's not in the starting lineup. He suffered a knee injury last week in the SEC tournament. Meanwhile, Robert Morris back in the NCAA tournament under Andy Toole for the first time since 2015. But in 2015, Spiro, it was out of the Northeast Conference. This year, the Horizon League.
A couple of lean years, but getting them back to the top of that league. There's Grant Nelson trying to get that thing warmed up. Obviously a huge piece for Nate Oates in their run to the Final Four, Jim, last year.
Yeah, and I think that actually that last play just then was Youngblood rebounding the basketball and falling down for the travel, but just showed the quickness, the size of going after the glass that Alabama has.
Nice move. Here's DJ Smith trying to knife in a quick recovery. Alabama, as good as they are with their offense, give up a ton of points.
They do. You can go and you can run on them too a little bit. They give up 81 points per game.
Youngblood able to find the opening in the backcourt in the transition game. So a good start for Bama, as they've hit 2 of their first 3. And the Colonials, meantime, still looking for their first points 90 seconds into the game. Colonials this season, 26 wins. And what was just a tremendous year, tied the most in program history. But obviously dealing with a different animal here against the Crimson Tide. Turnaround jumper by Majafo won't go.
Look at Sears in the open court here, just running it.
Youngblood trying to fend off the defender underneath on the box. This is Omori outside Phylon, curling, and he takes a little bit of a bump. We're at 17 and change left to play. A little tournament summary action. What a first full day it was yesterday. How about McNeese, Will Wade's bunch with a knockout punch. And Jim, that thing wasn't even close.
No, and if I'm being honest with you, I had Clemson moving on with 1 or 2 wins.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I thought they would be okay this year. They had a very good year in the ACC.
My condolences, Jimmy.
Thank you. Racket buster.
Little dribble drop. Boy, what a pass. My goodness. Well, Maury was trying to bring the house down with that one. But a beautiful setup by Jaron Stevenson. And free throws coming up for Bama.
You see, defensively just never got in front of Amori just then. And when you have that situation, you know you're going to be in trouble. Your partner picks up the foul. Dickerson trying to help out with the mistake from behind.
So Amori, young man from Nigeria, who emigrated to the United States for high school. He settled in New Jersey at Roselle Catholic High School. Started at Rutgers as a collegian. 4 years, was a 2-time All-Big East defensive selection, among the league leaders in shot blocks last year in the country. And boy, what an addition he has been for Nate Oates to try to help shore up some of their defensive issues.
Well, you can funnel people to him. That's the beauty of it. And the perimeter, when they get beaten on the outside, they have to recognize that he's there. That's why they're kind of running some big screens out front. But look at him. He just kind of parks himself down here and waits. And then he'll work his way back in.
Here's Woods trying to put it on the deck. That's a tough contested shot. The tip won't go.
Oh.
Third time's a charm. As Woods and Dickerson crash the offensive glass, and they finally got their first points.
Robert Morris was down 10-0 in their last game as they come up with a strip right here. 2-on-1 if they hurry.
Dickerson, tough finish. The rebound, Folgueras. And Omajapo is going to take a bump.
I think it might be Youngblood out front.
So the Colonials just trying to absorb that early punch by Alabama. But there's just something about this team. They don't get rattled. You mentioned the deficit that they had to contend with in that conference tournament. Andy Toole has talked about, this is a kind of an old school group that challenges each other. No one gets sensitive in this locker room. Kind of throwback players. Turnaround shot by Omajapo won't go.
He likes the fact the culture is there. They look out for one another. Sometimes you can have teams where 1 or 2 guys drift away from what the goal and mission statement is. Not this team.
Injection of some new pieces, and they have put it all together this season. Good hands defensively by Folgueras.
Folgueras just a touch late there, but he recovered quick enough to get there for Andy Toole's squad.
And look at what they have done entering the tournament. 16-1 over their last 17 games. 10 straight wins entering the tournament. That's their longest winning streak in 17 years. Dickerson into the corner. Stevenson's going to launch too much.
I like the way Robert Morris has been playing so far. Just under control, as you touched on, not scoring as easily as they hoped they would against this longer length that they have for Alabama, but so far so good in terms of the temperament that they have in this game.
Colonials just 1 of 7 from the field. Here's the Horizon League Player of the Year, Folgueras. Young man from Malaga, Spain.
Yeah, if he can get it going from outside like that, he's a 42% three-point shooter. They'll have some better chances at spacing and driving it to the floor.
Early stages here in Cleveland, Alabama trying to make what they hope is going to be an early tournament statement, but Andy Toole's bunch feisty. We got a 3-point game in the early seconds on True TV. Back in Cleveland, we take a little peek at our advanced stats presented by Invesco QQQ. How about this Alabama Crimson Tide offense? Just prolific, only team in the country that averaged 90 points, and they've done it now, Jim, in back-to-back years. Led the country in scoring again for a second straight season, and no one has been close.
And look at that bottom line. Scored 90+ in 17 different games, and they also went over the 100 mark 8 times.
This is Darion Reed, who's just checked into the game now for Nate Oates. Sears, the All-American, just named a couple of days ago, and gets the pretty little floater. Stops on a dime.
That's the one thing. That's a good point right there, because the one thing he does well is if sometimes he looks like he's getting out of control and not getting his feet under him. Right before he gathers, the feet are usually well placed, and he gets himself squared for a good shot.
Ishmael Plett has checked into the game now for Andy Toole and the Colonials. This is Omajafo on the attack, and he lays it in.
I think they have to just continue to balance the floor, Robert Morris, and not allow this, the transition buckets going up and down the floor.
Mohamed Diabate gets his first points of the day. So 5-point Alabama lead. Jim, they've hit 4 of their first 6. This efficient juggernaut of an offense out of Tuscaloosa. Way too much on the 3 that time from Dickerson, who was the Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year this season. Corner 3, Diabate.
He gets things going right off the bench. 12 points in his last game against Florida. Knows what to do with it. He was 5 for 5 in that game, shooting the basketball.
Sophomore from Queens is Cam Woods.
Not sure about that shot right there. That's just going to get Alabama, after they've scored a couple of buckets. You do not want to take bad shots against Alabama because they'll make you pay.
Alabama letting it fly. Another 3-pointer and then a fight for it underneath off the missed 3 from Sherrill.
I think that's going to be Robert Morris' ball, I think, because Sherrill, the guys are fighting on the sideline, and I think, watch the white shirt, is going to end up getting on the line right there. So he's out of bounds before he throws that ball back in.
Alabama, 9 different players.
A little twist on that shot.
I've already gotten into the game.
Yeah.
Nate Oates touched on it already. 9-10 players deep with their rotations. It's been a recurring theme with this team as we get a blocking foul called here. Officials are going to get Josh Omajafo.
Well, you can get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament at ncaa.com.
Jim, that's going to be the second on Omajafo. So early foul trouble here. Less than 6 minutes into the game now for Andy Toole.
Yeah, they have 4 fouls already in the 6 minutes. So that's another thing that Alabama will get you in trouble trying to guard them and picking up the fouls drawn.
Sears sealed off on the baseline. Backing down underneath. Boy, smart pass. Reed on the cut.
5 assists a game for Sears. He's a magician with the basketball, setting people up and just waiting. I love his poise in terms of not being in a hurry to get things done. Nice cut.
Dickerson up and under, beautifully finding the seam in that Alabama defense. Here comes Sears, relentless, and they got him. Woods. Up the floor he comes. Underneath, Woods taking some contact, and it's stuck back in. So they start to hit the offensive glass. That was Prather, the redshirt sophomore.
That was like a hockey series right there. It was 4-on-4. Gives him a little bit more room on the floor.
Little body bumping. Diabate couldn't finish, trying to go glass.
Thought he got hit a little bit across the face. He was indicating that he got smacked in the face a bit.
Here comes Woods, Alabama kid who knows a lot of these Crimson Tide players. DJ Smith.
Not all that bad that they take some time off the clock if they don't get the first get.
Woods into the corner. This is
Prather, and the Colonials showing some fight.
That's not hurrying. That's smart basketball. And Prather at 40% from the 3-point line. A beautiful find in the right corner to make some action.
Holloway, that's a deep shot for Bama. Jim, there aren't too many players on this Crimson Tide team that can't shoot.
No, that's for sure. And he's tied with Sears shooting the basketball with, that was his 79th of the season.
Now tied with Sears for the most threes on the year. DJ Smith underneath, a little bit out of control, and the rebound pulled by Sherrill.
Yeah, that's the size closing in on you when you think you have an opportunity.
Wow, boy, well played. Somehow was able to go glass around Plett.
And how about the extension, bringing it back and controlling the basketball. And that's kind of the last 2 plays indicative of what Robert Morris has not seen on a night-to-night basis in their season this year.
So that 7-0 run quickly turned by the Tide. And the Colonials are going to maintain possession. They say last touched on the deflection by Alabama. So the Crimson Tide absorbing some of that little push from the Colonials. 8-point game, first half here in Cleveland.
All right, back here in Cleveland. Nate, how have you opened up this thing in the last couple of minutes?
We got the pace the way we wanted, but we gave up 3 possessions in a row. We got beat on a blow-by, no help side, beat on a bad cut and didn't box out. We're giving up too many old boards, but we do get the pace the way we want it. We got to keep running on, but we got to do a better job getting stops consistently for the whole game.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
All right, John, so Nate Oates, year 6 form down in Tuscaloosa, has this program holding a 4 seed or better in the tournament for a 3rd straight year. First time that's happened in program history. Jim, what have you seen here so far in this game?
I like the answer that he just gave to John. The first 3 things he said was this play, that play, and the other play. So the coach's mind is constantly working where they've made some mistakes. But then he did tag it by saying a positive. We've got this pace where we want it to be. This is why Robert Morris has to settle down in terms of their half-court sets. And right now they have to go, though.
Let's see if the Colonials can get their 2 best players going. Shot clock down to 1. Smith finally gets it to Dickerson. Has to pull quickly. Woods trying to keep it alive. Folgueras gets down on his knees. It's loose. Officials are going to say jump, and the possession arrow is going to keep it here. So interestingly, you've got Folgueras, Horizon League Player of the Year, Jim. Quiet so far. Hasn't hit a basket, no points. And Cam Woods, 2nd team All-Horizon League player. He hasn't scored yet.
And I think part of that is the adjustment you have to make as a team like Robert Morris, as I've spoken about. Not seeing the length. Andy Toole's team has not seen the length and athleticism on a night-to-night basis. So when you take that little jumper or you look for a move, you say to yourself, wow, this is something I've been able to do all season long. But then today, you look at Alabama, and there's a guy closing in on you quicker than you've seen all season.
There's Prather, hit the 3 a couple of minutes ago, not that time. And the rebound pulled by Omori. So the Colonials are 5 of 19 shooting. They're 1 of 7 from 3. But hard collision. No whistle as Stevenson was turned back. And he's still down to an advantage. Dickerson cocking it back and puts it down.
Yeah, he's still down to our right.
Oh boy, Stevenson's in pain. Looks like he may be clutching that left forearm. So the officials say that Dickerson walled straight up and down. No foul was called. And now the concern appears to be that left wrist of Stevenson.
Yeah, so watch now. He's on the side. You know what? That's a body bump in my estimation, Spiro. From the walling up concept is when you're standing straight in front of the guy, but not on his side like that. And that's why he kind of bumps him. Watch.
So should have been a foul call.
I'm thinking that's a foul, yeah.
Nate Oates has come out with the athletic trainer. Stevenson just now is helped onto his feet. Still obviously grimacing in pain, and they'll take a closer look at that left wrist.
Yeah, sometimes when you come down like that, the instincts from a basketball player's standpoint is you're trying to get your arms and hands down to break that fall. And sometimes, and I'm not saying it happened right here, but sometimes that wrist can get locked and cause a little bit of a problem for you. So that's why they'll check that out and make sure he's okay. But
Stevenson, a sophomore, has had some big moments for this team. Let's throw it over to John.
All right, Spiro. Well, Jaron Steven is going back to the locker room right now for more evaluations with the Alabama training staff. We will monitor the situation and report back. But Jaron Stevenson going back to the locker room for further evaluation, Spiro.
All right, we got the report from John to start the game that Grant Nelson is indeed available to play, coming back from that knee injury. Fight for the rebound. Youngblood going, what a pass! Omori! Thunderous two-handed flush.
And that's the opportunity right there to keep tipping the basketball alive. I thought Robert Morris was going to be able to come down with that ball because there were 2 tips in there. But Alabama corralled it.
So the Colonials actually holding their own on the glass. Folgueras, that's a 3. Boy, big encouraging sign for the Colonials. They need a big one from their best players today.
Player of the year in the Horizon, so yes, they do. And see how quickly he popped out there, got his feet set.
Highly skilled 7-footer. The 3-pointer there, that's good. Boy, they just come at you in waves. Diabate. And just like that, it's an 8-point game as we cross the midway point of the first half.
Yeah, they're so quick with the basketball, Alabama, as they force you to have help side defense to close in.
Oh. So Cam Woods still looking for his first points.
That was his easiest one of the game so far.
6th offensive rebound for the Colonials. Prather.
Yeah, you always have to look for the secondary guy in there, Morey.
Dickerson, good look, couldn't hit. And Diabate controls up the floor to Holloway. 24-16. This vaunted Alabama offense looking for more points.
See how they use the dribble? Nice cut there and nice look.
Omori, excellent start. He's got 7 points. And this thing back to 10 for the Tide.
And Alabama's just an efficient dribbling team. They don't dribble without a purpose usually.
DJ Smith trying to create some space against Holloway. Little flick, and he gets it.
Yeah, well, that was even with Omori hanging around there. He saw him, he looked at him, and he went a little bit away from him.
DJ Smith, a Bowling Green transfer. Fine lawn, beautiful lob. Boy, they are picking them apart underneath. Omori's got 9.
Yeah, Omori is just really smart with what he does with this team. He just watches the basketball and creates little open opportunities for him so he can get the delivery.
Folgueras, fire short. So the Colonials now are 2 of 9 from the three-point line. Jimmy, pull this kind of an upset or have a chance. You got to hit those threes.
Especially the open ones. There'll be contested threes, but you have to hit your open ones. Pretty good job with Smith defensively right here. Keep on line. I was just going to say, keep the hands down, though.
Well, every dunk, every three, every upset. Fan work is thirsty work. Stay refreshed with Coke Zero Sugar.
Is it the best Coke ever? And Jim, with this shooting of Robert Morris, 8 of 25, 2 of 9 from 3, it's almost a surprise that they're only down 10 points.
That's a great point. I mean, they just haven't really gotten any. The good looks they've gotten, they've been spreading the floor and had some pretty good looks. The ones that they have some trouble with is when they go in and the defensive center for Alabama is lurking around a little bit. Then they start looking around and get a little bit, not so much intimidated, but they lose their concentration on their shots.
Sherrell hands back to Holloway. Tough pass, and it's intercepted by Woods.
Good recovery there by Woods in the corner. He read that pretty well.
Woods still looking for his first basket. Gets it out to Smith. Nearly a travel, up and under, and they're going to get a bump. Let's see if they said that was on a pass or a shot.
And Nate Oates wanted the same call you just said.
First half winding down here in Cleveland. 10-point Bama lead.
All right, back here in Cleveland. Andy, how do you get Cam Woods going on offense?
You know, they're doing a great job on him right now, and he's a patient player. He's going to make the right plays, so he's got to be able to just make the right play right now. If that means passing and trying to find others, do that, and then eventually he'll get his opportunity.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, John, 44-year-old Andy Toole grew up down in Red Bank, New Jersey. Played for Fran Dunphy, the great coach at Penn. They went to back-to-back tournaments together. What great teams they had there. He said, Fran Dunphy used to say the best sound was hearing your team's name on Selection Sunday. I had that experience as a player. I'm so happy that my guys are getting to experience this themselves.
Yeah, for those people who know New Jersey high school basketball, Christian Brothers Academy in Lincroft, New Jersey is where he spent this time. I think our producer Steve McKee might have something to say good about that too.
I saw him slip you a 20 to mention that earlier. Nice work.
And a day late, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. McKee. Majafo looking as he checks back into the game. Early foul trouble that he had to contend with. This is Plant. As the Colonials desperately try to kick their offense into gear. Only their third 3 in 11 tries.
And only his third 3 of the year, and he's 1 for 3. He went from 0% to 33 in a hurry.
You're a numbers guy. That's pretty good. Here's Sears. Travel.
Hey, by the way, too, just to tag what Andy Toole said about Woods. Second in the Horizon League at 5 assists per game. When he said that he's patient and he'll make his decisions and not force shots. He's got 3 assists already. So
Cam Woods.
Yeah, Cam Woods, excuse me. Yeah, right on the money with what he's talking about.
And Jim, again, the Colonials show you, look, obviously there's a talent discrepancy when you're playing a team like Alabama, but there is nothing about this team that says that they're intimidated.
Wow.
Folgueras, boy, that is a thing of beauty.
He knew that there was problems behind him defensively. Sherrell back there, so what a tricky move.
Fine lawn, backdoor. Folgueras hit the deck. Boy, what body control by Diabate. Had to kind of shift his feet.
With somebody laying right at his bottom, right at the bottom of his feet.
Good start for Diabate. He now is into double figures. Here comes Woods, turning the corner, flicks it up, and finally, Cam Woods, their second leading scorer, gets his first points. Boy, quickly Alabama, they're not going to count the basket. They say that it came the whistle before the gather. Diabate disagrees. So we got a 5-point game.
And watch Woods here. Makes a good shot, but the last 2 possessions have been difficult shots because of the defensive effort by Alabama. But just the same, Robert Morris chipping away here, only down 5.
Colonials had 1 more foul to give, so an underneath out of bounds with Omori back in for Nate Oates.
That's a pretty good number, too, because with 6 fouls right now, they had 4 quick ones in the first 6 minutes of this game. So they've basically laid back and kept their hands back defensively.
Inbounder is 5 long. Look out, Omori just vicious.
You don't get much time to scout teams in the NCAA tournament, but with him, you have to just body bump him and keep front him like you're not letting him get the basketball.
Or you think they're happy they got him from Rutgers?
Oh,
my goodness.
And Rutgers a little sad, probably.
DJ Smith elevates, and now the Colonials starting to cook.
And they're figuring out on the fly right now, if I do certain things, I might get a better shot. So he breaks them down. Instead of going into the 12-foot range, it's the pull-up mid-range shot, which they'll take. Andy Toole will take that.
Diabate resets. This is Youngblood, steps into a 3, a little bit too much. Fight for it underneath.
Look up, you got a layup, Spiro.
All alone, Dickerson. And here come the Colonials. 1-possession game.
What a great gamble by him just then in Dickerson. He anticipated that his team was going to get that rebound. I always say the first race, it's a race to half court as they turn it over going the other way, but it's a race to half court. First guy to get there is going to get the layup. Watch the work on the glass. They got 4 in there. They finally get it. Now watch him. He sneaks out over the top. Well done. Finish it off. And all of a sudden, a little pump in the stands, I would say, huh, with the fans?
Robert Morris, 9th all-time appearance in the dance. Their first as members of the Horizon League. Won their first ever Horizon title, both regular season and tournament champs.
In games like this, you have to get it to half court somewhat under control against a good, solid team like Alabama.
Woods, and this is going to be a bump against Diabate as the Colonials have taken back some of the momentum. Well, you can watch whip-around coverage of all men's games with Fast Break presented by Nissan in the March Madness Live app. Closest the Colonials have been since it was 14-11 in the early stages of this first half.
Only team foul number 3 also.
Here comes Smith. Boy, dribbled it off of his foot, but the officials are going to get a reach-in foul.
You don't get that call unless you're aggressive with the dribble.
Let's check in with John.
All right, guys. Jaron Stevenson right now checking back in the game. He has a taped-up left wrist. Obviously, he's available to return. But obviously, Spiro noticed the tape on the left wrist.
All right, so John, all over the injury situation. We still haven't seen Grant Nelson yet for...
Yeah, John, that's a good sign, too,
Alabama.
because with that fall, you can jam that left wrist. It's almost like you're turning your ankle when you're running around and stepping on somebody's foot. It can linger a little bit.
Important pieces for Nate Oates that they're hoping to have. Hope it's going to be a deep run. There's the block by Omori. Shot clock still at 7. Dickerson. Going to reset. Smith on the deck to the basket. Boy, a volleyball spike. How about that recovery by Stevenson? Looks like that wrist is okay.
Yeah, look at the speed coming down.
3-pointer from Holloway, well short.
Whoa, watch out. Whoa, brother, was that a screen?
My goodness.
An illegal
Woods
one.
dropping it down. Dickerson. Dickerson gets it back. Thought about it just for a second.
So this is what I like about Robert Morris. They tried to run it down the floor, nothing there. Now they're taking the time off the clock. Woods thinking a little bit too much. Amore, another factor in the middle of the floor. It's easy to say when you're sitting here, but you just have to basically look at this pick.
Oh.
Not moving, perfectly legal.
Jim, you got to call that thing out if you're the teammate.
Yeah, you need somebody behind you yelling at that one. But you know, sometimes there's such quick hitters because his teammate didn't have a whole lot of time to help him from that one because he set it about the top of the three-point area defensively.
Oh, Morey! My goodness! The Rutgers transfer's got 11 points, and he has been punishing this Colonials defense.
6 for 6 from the floor. And I like the range he's shooting those shots at.
High percentage. This is a corner 3. Folgueras a little bit short on the push. Youngblood lost it.
He just ran past the ball.
Boy, Prather trying to rip it back. Bodies all over the place. Look at the effort. Smith, boy, trying to get the timeout. I don't think he ever had possession. Officials say jump, and it's Alabama basketball. And Stevenson once again grimacing, Jim, as he clutches that wrist.
Little delay, wait, and watch it go through. Perfectly timed once again for Alabama.
Chilly day here in Cleveland as we take a little peek at our game summary in this 2:15 matchup. How about the Colonials within 5 with 3:22 left? Jim, they have not turned it over in nearly 16 minutes, so not shooting it well, but they're playing efficiently in other areas.
Yeah, 19-29 exactly was their first turnover, but you see these contested shots, and then the pull-up is not one because you're doing that and really going after it with a strong dribble, and then they get the breakaway here. So overall, touched on it. Don't turn the basketball over. Don't allow Alabama to get down the floor and cut those possessions down a little bit from the leading ones, 88 possessions per game. They got to trim that number down as much as they possibly can, speaking about Robert Morris.
And again, their 3 best plays. You saw that number with Andy Toole's team struggling at the start, starting to show some life. But their 2 best players so far, Folgueras and Woods, have shot a combined 3 of 12. And despite that, it's a 2-score game. Phylon.
Nice hands in there, too, just to get that away. I think it was Prather who knocked that ball out of Amori's hands. Go by him. There you go. Get him
Prather,
up.
the blow by Pretty.
Get the shot blocker who's not supposed to be jumping that much outside like that on a 17, 18-footer, just like that here.
Youngblood under control. Just a beautiful 3-point stroke.
And I think you can say and tag that both defenders were not in control at each end of the floor.
This prolific 3-point shooting team for Alabama. And just like that, their lead back to a half dozen. Final 2 and change before the half. This is Woods. Out front to Dickerson, and they're going to try to reset. Now Dickerson accelerates. Near side, Woods. Good close. Youngblood. Woods to the rim. They got him. Woods trying to rip it back. Who touched it last? The Colonials.
He tried to challenge the big guy underneath that trip. You got to remember, he's one of the best at blocking shots, but also one of the best at walling up, going straight up without really bringing his hands down that often for the foul.
Just wonder how Robert Morris, their coaching staff, can adjust. Obviously, Alabama, all their defensive focus has been on Cam Woods. Can the Colonials get him going at some point?
Yeah, I think as long as he gets somebody else on the floor going. Watch this.
Omori!
You just can't ride him out of there. He's just so good, so strong and tall, and he's now a 7 for 7 from the floor.
$1:45 left in the half.
Oh, you take a little bit of his production away, and this is a much tighter game.
He has 15 of the Tide's 39 points.
But that's not how this game is played. You can't take things off the board.
DJ Smith bumped.
And Sears banging away.
It's only going to be the 5th against Alabama with 90 seconds left. Coming up, AT&T at the half. Got all the scores, highlights, plus the latest NCAA tournament news. It's all next on AT&T at the half. Great to have you with us downtown Cleveland. Spiro Ditas, Jim Spinarco, John Rothstein, our producer Steve McKee, our director Mike Arnold, rest of our fabulous True TV crew. Happy to have you with us.
Plenty of time for them, Robert Morris, to get a good shot off right now. You don't want to turn this ball over. Make sure you get a good shot so you don't give Alabama anything on the breakaway, so they extend this lead going into the half and continue with some positive thoughts.
Folgueras on the box, Youngblood on his back.
Watch him with the jump hook in the middle.
There you go. It's on Youngblood, so that'll be the 6th. So now they're out of fouls to give with 1:19 left.
I'd go right back to him. But remember, Amori is behind him, so he has to be really careful if they're going to isolate him. So that he goes with a jump hook away from the basket a little bit rather than going towards the basket.
Robert Morris Colonials, 26-8, won 15 games to win the Horizon regular season and conference championships. To get into the dance for the 9th time ever. Into the corner, this is Dickerson. That's a 3, back of the rim, no. Woods tracks it down. Boy, they've really hit the offensive glass. Then they poked it away. Folgueras underneath. This is Dickerson. Puts it up and down.
You see what he has to do there? Defensively, Amari comes across and closes and seals him in right there. So you can't go straight up with a little 3-foot footer, a 3-footer. You have to go to the middle of the lane to give yourself a little bit more space. Well done.
Amari Dickerson, a Cleveland kid who grew up in the projects of this city. Sears, the little floater, no. And with 39 seconds left, the Colonials are going to get it back down 6.
And Sears very good at being bumped away. Let's see, that's deflected there. Hard to see, but maybe Amari got his hand in there last. I'd sit on this right now, Spiro, as if this was like a last shot. I know there's 9-second differential, but I'd bring this down and really condense the last 25 seconds of this first half. Don't make a mistake if you're Robert Morris right now.
DJ Smith now to Woods. Shot clock at 5. Dickerson elevates and he hits. The hometown kid. Just a sensational half, and Nate Oates wants a timeout. Andy Toole said yesterday he thinks he owns this city, and he's playing like it.
Good for him.
Time now for It Takes More, presented by Powerade.
And Robert Morris played this perfectly, using that last-second opportunity to get their shot off and making sure they didn't shoot the ball too long to give Alabama too much time. And by the way, too, Spiro, you look around in this building, and I just did it towards the break, we're pretty much packed in this place, and they're starting to lean towards Robert Morris a little bit.
Great contingent to school just outside Pittsburgh, west of the city. Final 3 seconds. Sears, oh boy. Robert Morris out of fouls. What a job by Sears to initiate the contact and to get himself to the free throw line for a 1-and-1.
Watch number 2 in red. He gets him first because he's on the move. He's not in defensive position. And by the way, this guy at the line, Sears, very, very smart basketball IQ in terms of how to get his shots off, when to go with the ball, when to really be aggressive with it.
Last year's second-team All-American, this season first team. One of the premier players in the country, and this is where he's made his bones, right at the free throw line. Unbelievable numbers over the course of his career. Now a graduate player, Alabama kid, started his collegiate run at Ohio. Rattles in the first.
And he makes his free throws at 85%, so many totals of shots that he has had. You still want to block out.
And he's now scored 800 points this season. First player in program history to do it. There's the putback. Would not have counted as that gets us to halftime. Jimmy, how impressed are you with what we're seeing so far from the Colonials?
Well, I have to say this one thing. At the first 4 or 5 minutes, I thought the length, the athleticism, and the size, power size of Alabama rattled them a little bit. I thought on the fly, Andy Toole did a great job of adjusting, telling his guys to pull the ball back out. If you don't have a quick one, make sure you take your time, and they weren't afraid to challenge when need be.
John standing by with Mohamed Diabate.
All right, Mo, how did they cut into your lead here the last couple of minutes?
They got a few offensive rebounds. They got most of the 50-50 balls. And, you know, we just got to make the tough plays, you know what I'm saying? They out-toughed us for a few possessions down there, so that's what we got to work on.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Spiro.
All right, John, so the Alabama Crimson Tide, all their talent right now, again, everything they can handle. 4-point game as we reach halftime here in Pittsburgh.
We'll send you to AT&T in the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Back with you here in Cleveland as we take a look at our first half stats, sponsored by Wendy's. Robert Morris, they fell into that early double-digit hole. They had some offensive issues trying to get acclimated to the big bad Crimson Tide, but look at that score. We got a 4-point game as we welcome you back to halftime here in Cleveland. Spiro Dedes, Jim Spanarkel here from John Rothstein in just a second. First half thoughts?
You want some, I guess. Yeah, that was pretty impressive with Robert Morris not turning the basketball over against this high-powered team. You look at Dickerson, he really played well. He matched his average in the first half with 13 points, 6 of 12. I love that last shot there at the end of the half. And Omori, the Rutgers product at one point, stepping it up defensively, but 7 for 7 from the floor, all in the paint. Just focusing on him, trying to get him with the lobs. They started his first shot with a lob this afternoon, and they continued looking for him.
John Rothstein, you spoke to Cam Woods. What did he tell you?
Yeah, Spiro, Cam Woods just told me that the message was real simple in the Robert Morris locker room at the half. Got to get back in transition and also need to improve pick and roll defense. That's directly related to what you guys were talking about with Cliff Omori in the first half, really giving Alabama a lift, stopping that and make sure they get back in transition. The big focal points out of the Robert Morris locker room, according to Cam Woods, Spiro.
All right, John, great stuff. Possession arrow here is going to get it back to the Crimson Tide. Robert Morris, 9th all-time appearance in the tournament. They've won 2 games in the history of the dance, but never in the round of 64. One of them came in the first 4 in 2015, and then in 1983, the opening round before the expansion of the tournament. Jim, I'm not sure how many people in the country thought that the Colonials could hang with Alabama, yet here we are, 20 minutes in. Sears up top. And Omori continues to bring this defense to its knees.
You know, that point that John just made, it was accentuated just then with the lobs to Omori. One of the things that they're very good at is they don't hurry into the lob. They let it develop, and they're patient. For a team that goes up and down like Alabama does, very patient in half court.
This is DJ Smith, one of the transfer players. Boy, beautiful find. The vision gets it underneath to Folgueras.
Got lost in there a little bit with the traffic. Whoa, he just slipped by himself. He's back up.
Sears pick and roll action. Stevenson just lethal with their offense.
I thought Dickerson is lucky that he pulled his hands back on that. He was so out of position. I thought he was just going to do a little push to the back.
Cam Woods, can he get his offense going? Offensive rebound, Dickerson. Good ball movement back to Woods.
Wow.
Too much.
He just barely hit the other side of the rim just then. He might...
Woods is now 1 of 10. There's that theft. What a play. Omajafo off and running. Cocks it back. Missed it. Boy, what a recovery. And then it's Smith. Boy, Stevenson with a terrific defensive play to get back.
I don't know what he was trying to do on the breakaway just then. When you said that he cuffed the ball, I'm thinking that's a mistake. You know why? Because it slows him. It slows him down.
Too cute.
Yeah, too cute in this environment, this stage. Just go in there and lay it up. And if you're going to dunk it quickly, but don't cup it and try to make something fancy out of it.
So DJ Smith, young man out of North Little Rock, Arkansas. Bowling Green transfer in his junior season. All-Horizon tournament team. And makes a point at the free throw line. First round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship begins today on the ESPN family of networks. For all the information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Last foul charge, Jim, to Sears, his second personal. First free throws of the day here for the Colonials.
So tough to win the tournament games without your share of free throws, for sure. Alabama did a pretty good job in that first half staying away, and so did Robert Morris until the end.
Sears, the All-American, steps into the deep three. Too much. Back rim rebound, Woods. His former AAU teammate in Alabama.
I think Woods would like to get to the free throw line. Now, he's not going to get there now, but Spiro, he's got to get to that free throw line and see the ball go through the net at some point. And watch the bump here. The hands go out first, and then you're a little late with your foot movements. And good call. At least he's being aggressive with the basketball, even though he's really having some troubles. I don't want to say it, but he's 1 for 11 from the field.
Inbound.
Look at this.
Sears, unbelievable.
What a play.
Diabate, the initial deflection, and then Sears. Boy, Diabate saves again. No whistle underneath with the collision with Dickerson, and then Dickerson the loose change.
That was some series just then for 10 seconds back and forth.
So 2.5 gone by, second half. Can the Colonials stay within striking distance? 5-point game. Again, despite Woods, one of their stars, shooting 1 of 11. Here he is with the ball. Omajafo Lead bounce, but looked like maybe a kick.
Yeah, I
no
thought
whistle.
so too. Did you see
turnover?
Sears may have. So watch this play. That's perfectly legal what he did there. He saved it, whacked it up in the air, and somehow come down with a break. I'm surprised they didn't really. Sears tried to be a little too fancy just then too.
So Jim, they went 19.5 minutes without a turnover to close the first half. Back to back here now. Boy, Diabate, what a couple of minutes he's played. Euro step pretty.
Yeah, he has really given them a big time lead, big time edge on the floor. He has 12 points. Amore has 17. So those two guys are doing quite a bit of the damage for Alabama.
Woods, and he gets one.
Now we'll see what kind of mood he's in. You know, you go through a 1 for 11 and you're like thinking way too much, and I know everybody who's played this game is at a slump.
Sears elevation, no. Smith, any play. Omajafo on the break, elevates, and the Colonials just keep on coming.
When you can't get to the ball, one of the things you want to try to do is get a hand on it. And more importantly, if you can deflect it towards your end of the floor, sometimes it acts like it's almost a fast break pitch out. And off you go. Well done by Smith.
Phylon sets up Sears, corner three. One of the elite shot makers in the country.
You notice how he missed a moment ago? He comes right back with the confidence and shooting the long ball.
Sears quickly quiets down the contingent that has made the 200-mile trek. About $120 from Pittsburgh.
Look up, you get a layup. He missed it. He got fouled.
This will be reaching Omajafo. And everyone's going to catch their breath. Andy Toole is irate, barking at his players. Third against Omajafo, but Sears just too much.
Yeah, here's the leader. He knows what he's doing. Just spots up and finishes. Spacing is key for Alabama.
Oh, watch live men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Download today.
Great to have you with us. Downtown Cleveland, first of 4 games. Mark Sears, one of the all-time careers in the history of this program out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
And a slow first half for him, but you know that he's going to be a factor in leading this team. He kind of let Amore do the most of the work in that first half, and they better just keep an eye on him. He can beat you in so many different ways. Look at those numbers, only 6 when we showed them before. 6 points.
Underneath, boy, beautiful setup by Sears, and Diabate playing himself into this game. He's been a big piece, and he's got 14 now for Nate Oates. So just like that, the Crimson Tide extend their lead back to 7 with just under 5 minutes gone by in the second half in this 2:15 matchup. Beautiful backdoor cut by Dickerson, but he couldn't squeeze that pass.
Just couldn't get the hands on it. Ball was right around his chest high.
Diabate wide open, and he couldn't catch it.
And they got a break right there because Dickerson was late getting back.
Dickerson stops on a dime, in and out. Voulgaris is fouled on a putback, and he's going to shoot free throws. And Jim, the offensive rebound by the Colonials, huge factor in this game. They're 11th of the day.
Watch, he gets 2 hands on it, so then it becomes a shot. And that's why he will get to the line. But a good read by him in terms of watching Dickerson shoot the ball from long range. And that ball came off the rim very softly, which is what you want to see happen when a guy shoots a 3. That means your offensive rebounders will have a chance to get to it.
So Alvaro Voulgaris, Player of the Year in the Horizon League, first sophomore to win it in the league since Gordon Hayward did it for Butler back in 2010. Was 11th in the Horizons in scoring. International experience on the under-18 Spanish national team. All kinds of talent. One of only 6 players in Division I this season with 400 points, 300 rebounds, and 100 assists. So he's got the versatility that Andy Toole likes in his game.
Yeah, the improvement in his game from last year to this year is just remarkable, what he's done. Give him a couple of minutes of a break.
Here comes Holloway. Boy, look at that acceleration right through the defense like they weren't there.
Well, they brought that high screen up, and Plett went for it. He's got to sit back on that and hope that they don't shoot on it, but you'd rather do that than give him a layup or a dunk by Amore. Isolation with some size here. Will somebody come and help him out from the back?
Sears trying to hold his own against Plett. They poked it away.
Just enough. Amore right there in the right spot again. Watch out.
Sears, Omari, boy, makes the catch in traffic, and then he throws it into the hands of Woods.
See if he goes to the middle of the floor.
8th Alabama turnover. Woods, little bumping against Reed, little floater. Boy, got to the rim, just left it short.
Yeah, that's a sign that you're looking a little too much for defenders.
Youngblood's 3, transition, missed it. Dickerson clears, and both teams now cooled off just a little bit.
Well, Woods now 2 for 13. He's just got to find a way without forcing the action to get a couple of shots to go for Robert Morris.
Team shooting a combined 2 of 8.5. This is DJ Smith probing. Picked up the dribble against Youngblood. And now 10 on the timer. DJ Smith against Sears. 5 to shoot. Trying to turn the corner. Youngblood, excellent defense. 1.5 to shoot. Underneath out of bounds.
So here's Amore going up. You see that right ankle just then? We'll see if it becomes a factor for him. Sometimes you can just shake those off in a hurry.
Omari's been the best player on the floor. 17 points if you've just joined us.
Yep, obviously still on the floor too after turning the ankle.
RMU's got to play quickly here. 1.5 seconds to shoot. Inbound Dickerson will fire. Nice job just to get it on the rim. And then it's tracked down to the corner by Philon as we check in with John.
Well, guys, you've been talking about Cliff Amore. You know, when he committed to Alabama in the spring, one of the things he told me when he committed was he wanted to play in Nate Oates' system because he wanted to play in a more NBA-friendly offense. We're seeing him obviously flourish in that style tonight, Spiro.
Just an incredible story. Born and raised in Nigeria. He actually got home last summer. First time in 8 years since he left his native country to emigrate to the U.S. to play high school basketball in New Jersey. Got a chance to see his family, his mom Gladys. Obviously proud of her little boy. What a player he's become on the national stage for Nate Oates.
I'm not so sure he's little anymore, though.
He'll always be her little boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Said with affection.
Omari, handoff to Philon. Good defense by Woods. The deflection. Philon got it back. They're going to fire on a 3. What a play. Philon gets it to Reed.
With 1 second on the shot clock also. They know where to spot up when they see their guys in trouble. They know exactly where that ball's going to eventually come. And Nate Oates' team's not afraid to pass the ball under 5 seconds on that shot clock.
Colonials, they took such good care of the ball, Jim, in the first half, but give Alabama's defense credit in the second half, creating some havoc.
That's what they do. Bama cranks it up at the defensive end and try to push it as fast as they can down the floor, even though there's only been 4 fast break points for each team. Andy Toole's team is doing a pretty good job here. He's got to get a shot that he likes on this possession after the timeout.
Andy Toole is 15th year at the helm of the Colonials.
Sharp guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Getting them into the tournament for the second time. Folgueras off top. Dickerson puts it in. And contact.
That's a little bit of an Alabama play right there that Robert Morris throws. They delay, they are patient, but they know what they want to get. They want to get this lob action going. Once the ball goes away from the hoop, then they come back with it. Real patient. That's a nice pass, too, when you think about it. Folgueras that time going over the top with one hand.
Third against Youngblood. John, you were eavesdropping in on that Andy Toole timeout huddle. What did you hear?
Yeah, Spiro, ironically enough, the thing that Andy Toole just told his team was, guys, we need to have more ball movement. We have to take good shots. The last couple of possessions, we've been selfish. We've taken poor shots. Looks like they're echoing the coach's sentiment, Spiro.
Yeah, that was a pretty good set right there for that one.
So Dickerson again leaving a point at the free throw line. They're 3 of 5 at the stripe as a team. Holloway's got that tremendous handle. Backdoor.
Nice
Dickerson, boy, he has been all over the gym.
He really has been. That was terrific stepping and read. Holloway just never saw him. Oh, close.
Woods chiseling his way. Dickerson putting him on a poster.
All right, Dickerson just continues to impress at both ends of the floor. Nice look away pass here in the corner.
Corner three, Holloway missed it. Every time you think the Colonials are on the mat, they come back.
Good defensive effort. Oh, this guy's on fire. He's taking everything he wants.
Offensive rebound, Fulgaris. Here comes Dickerson looking for more Euros.
Oh, I love it.
He is putting together maybe the game of his life.
Every time he touches it, he thinks something good's going to happen. It's a nice way to play.
Mark Sears, no, so the tide has cooled off here, and we got a 4-point game in Cleveland.
Andy Toole's over there. He's got 2 fingers up. I'm sure he's saying isolation and go slow with it.
Dickerson wants Sears.
Watch the shot blocker.
6 straight points all from Dickerson. Fulgaris, bad pass from Woods.
Yeah, he should have taken that layup. Yeah, Woods from behind.
This will be a transition foul, so frustration play by Woods. But the Colonials staying within striking distance.
Yeah, just chipping away. Here's the little up off the rim for Dickerson's alley-oop. This is getting your shot up, and here's a guy who's just playing confident basketball.
All right, Jamie, we'll keep tabs on that one. Winner of that one advances to take on the winner between Duke and Mount St. Mary's, whom we just checked out in Dayton. And meantime, Mr. Spinarco, we got a 4-point game here. 10 and change left as we approach the midway point of the second half.
And the longer this goes and the longer it stays close, you have to believe Alabama's going to think. Another alley-oop.
Stevenson setting the table beautifully for Reed.
Nice call by Nate Oates on the sidelines. That's a set play. They kind of bring that one a little bit away from the middle of the court.
So Darion Reed now 4-4 shooting, quietly putting together a terrific game. Here's Fulgaris underneath. Did they tie him up? Yes, they did. Terrific interior defense. Possession arrow will keep it here with RMU.
Yeah, he may have just extended the ball. See if he extends this ball just a little bit right there in front of his body. And that allows the defensive player to get a hand in.
Underneath out of bounds, they've got 15 to shoot. Smith hesitation maneuver underneath. Good reset to Woods. Woods wants to attack. A couple of fakes and they get him.
He thought he got
What a
bumped.
play by Sherrill.
Yeah, he thought he got bumped underneath there by Phylon. Look at that.
Sears gonna pull. Wow. That's an awfully deep play. Stevenson, it's saved, but it's Woods. Up to Peck. Fulgaris with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, Woods just got a shot blocked on him the previous trip, but made up for it with a beautiful quick pass in the fast break.
Midway point of the half, we got a 4-point game in this 2:15 matchup in Cleveland.
And they try to use their size and keep going to the basket, but it's blocked away. Another good look here if he gets it.
Dickerson, just magical.
I'm not so sure I would have tried that pass under these circumstances, but did he ever nail that right on the money?
Andy Toole told us he's never coached a player with more confidence. What a response. Sherrill quickly down the paint.
Alabama's known for shooting the 3-ball. They love the threes, and they like to go to the middle of the floor and get the paint. But it's interesting that they're not doing that in terms of the efficiency. I think they have to do that more.
Here comes Omajafo, the jump stop, the spin, soft touch.
You want an interesting observation? Look across at who's getting ready to check in. Nelson.
Haven't seen him yet. Sherrill the catch under control, taking contact.
You know, 6'10", 240. He used every bit of that size and strength to finish that off.
Remind you to turn to CBS for Baylor and Mississippi State as that game comes down the stretch. Here in Cleveland, Alabama with a 4-point lead. Aiden Sherrill, young man from Detroit, one of 3 McDonald's All-Americans on this roster. To the line, a chance to complete this 3-point play for Bama.
He'll be ready to rebound. 51% free throw shooter.
Misses as Grant Nelson checks into the game, swipes at it. First time we've seen Nelson.
And he makes a play, right? A second onto the floor, he makes a play.
Holloway, no. It's going to be a push in the back.
Yep.
It's on Sherrill.
It sure is.
So Grant Nelson, we got the report from John at the top, tweaked his knee in their last game that lost to Florida in the SEC tournament. It was interesting. They said that they would see how he would feel after warm-ups, Jim. He sat all this time.
Which is taking a chance, but what is going through Nate Oates' mind right now that he feels that he has to put him into this game?
Remember how huge Nelson was during their run to the Final Four last year.
Terrific player.
We come up on the 8-minute mark, second half. Woods. Dickerson. He's been the star. Back door. This is Prather. Dickerson. Offensive rebound. Fogueras.
They got out that open shot because Sears had his back turned to the ball as he comes down the floor and makes up for it.
Or Sears starting to carve him up. But Jim, again, the offensive rebounding for Robert Morris has been the story. 14 so far to just 4 for Alabama.
Yeah, 33-24 overall.
Dickerson, body bumping. He has been brilliant.
Spiro, this team was nervous before the first half, first 10 minutes. They are not any longer.
There's our game summary. We got a 2-point affair here in Cleveland, 64-62 in this 2:15 matchup, and the Cleveland kid, Dickerson, going toe-to-toe, Jim, with one of the baddest teams in the country.
We've heard that expression, getting in a zone at the offensive end. Normally we restrict that to guys who are shooting it, getting a heat streak going, but he is really, really playing in a zone all-around game. Just fabulous.
Told you about Dickerson's story. He grew up here in Cleveland in the lower projects, one of the roughest neighborhoods of the city. Raised by his mom and his grandma, his 3 siblings. He's talked about how it really has shaped him into the man that he's become. And his family could not be more proud watching their boy perform on this kind of a stage. Putting together just a dream performance. 24 points. In his first taste of the dance.
Not only are his points in play, but it's his energy that's lifting this team up.
Sears, look who, Dickerson. He is making this place his own personal playground.
I guess you could say, get it out of my house, because he owns this place. Wow, what a recovery and help out.
7:33 left, 18 to shoot. Grant Nelson still on the floor. If you've just hopped on with us, Nelson checking in for the first time today with that left knee injury. Inbound Diabate, puts it on the deck. Oh, left-hand floater, no. They're one and done. Woods.
That was a good no pass by Woods just then on the fast break. He found the secondary guy. Their body language is really good.
Oh, Jeffo! First lead for the Colonials. Here comes Nelson taking flight. He missed. Little bit of contact, no whistle.
You want to make sure you get a good one. Look at Dickerson in the middle of the floor running through.
Prather, boy, this place was ready to explode.
This is a retractable roof. It would have been opened.
Sears.
Dickerson on the back.
Dickerson got him clean, but they're going to get Prather down low, and Sears took a shot. Looks like Sears is okay, trying to shake the cobwebs.
There it was right there.
They actually get Woods, Jim, for his 3rd personal. And right there, you see the whack from Dickerson at the end of the play.
You got him way out on the floor then.
Team foul situations, as the officials say that the contact came before the shot, so an underneath out of bounds. Interesting. Alabama is out of fouls. Robert Morris has one more to give here with 6:46 left. Inbounder is Youngblood. Have nearly a full shot clock, so plenty of time. Aiden Holloway On the attack, Nelson. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, that's why they put him in the game. I'm sure Nate Oates was saying, I need somebody to make some real intangible type plays, something that'll stick with this game. And Nelson has done it already. Had a big tip on the offensive side a couple of moments ago.
Tells you just how serious Nate Oates is taking this Lamar's team. He knows they're getting everything they can handle. Majafo stumbling. That's a travel.
Yeah, just couldn't regather.
9th Robert Morris turnover. 7 of them have been in the half. Andy Toole has this team in the tournament for the first time since 2015. A lot of fans of this program still talk about that 2010 first-round near upset. Remember, they almost knocked off Villanova in that tournament. Nova that year was the 2 seed, lost that game in overtime. Andy Toole was an assistant on Mike Rice's staff. Young blood that kicked to Sears as we hit the 6-minute mark. Sears inside, just too much.
He's going to get more and more touches as this last 6 minutes evaporates here in this game.
3-point Bama lead with 5 and change left. This is Majafo. Dickerson. Now to Woods.
Let's see. He's got to make sure he doesn't force a shot for a guy who's been struggling at 2 for 15 from the floor today.
7 to shoot. Pump fakes. Fulgaris fades. Tough shot.
Yeah, sure was. That fade got him because then when you're going back like that, you really have to loft.
Young blood, quick release. Nelson. What do they say here?
Over the top.
Boy, they're going to get the Colonials.
What was it, arm wrapping behind?
Ooh. I believe it was Prather. So they had one more to give. It'll be an underneath out of bounds for the Crimson Tide. But already, Jimmy, just a couple of minutes, you can see the value of Nelson.
He had to put the arms around him, I guess, to stop him from going over. And a little bit of a hook just then with the arms just to keep him out of tall guy.
Inbound point. Diabate left wide open. Beautiful vision by Youngblood. And it's a 5-point game. DJ Smith is going to get it to Woods.
I'm wondering if he's thinking he's 2 for 15 or is he not worried about that?
Dickerson underneath where they get their money's worth. Takes a hard hit. And now Dickerson's down.
And Woods has 7 assists, even though he's struggling big time from the field.
Jimmy, I wonder if they'll take a look at this to see maybe if there was anything extra. Holloway trying to get his arms around Dickerson. You saw him try to maybe brace his fall a little bit. Officials are talking about it. Dickerson is still down.
I'm thinking that's a basketball play right there.
Oh boy, the knee of Nelson, the right knee hit Dickerson in the back of the head. And obviously the weight of the moment. Dickerson's been their best player by far. Very slowly trying to help him to get to his feet.
The previous play is under review for potential flagrant foul.
All right, so indeed they will go to the replay monitor to determine, to see if they're going to upgrade this thing to a flagrant foul. And that would be just massive with potential free throws in possession. But obviously the concern first right now on a Marion Dickerson.
And interesting enough, too, you look at Nelson coming down here. That's the right knee. His left knee is the bad knee, right?
It was the right knee. Yeah. See just back of the head for Dickerson, just trying to shake the cobwebs.
I'm not sure I see a flagrant on this, though. I see right. Unless they go with that right arm coming over the shoulder just then to begin that play.
Gene, can you upgrade this if it's a leg like that and it's not something you're flailing with the arms?
You know, it can be upgraded, Spiro, based on any activity in that review where they would think it would be unnecessary, excessive. I'm with Jimmy on the play, though. I truly don't see anything here that would fall into that awkward play. Limbs falling in kind of, you know, unnatural ways, but to me, nothing that appears to rise to the level that they would say would be flagrant. It just looks like a play where you've got some awkward fall, but nothing really with any level of flagrant there.
Yeah, I agree again, Gene. Looking at the replays a couple of times, it's instinctively Holloway knows he's in trouble. He's reaching out to try to save a bucket. He puts his hand in the play. And Nelson, I think, is just trying to block a shot, and there's basketball contact all around.
Again, our officiating crew, Michael Irving, Evan Burrows, and Chad Barlow. We thank Gene, as always, expertise. And Jim, they're still talking about it. The good news for the Colonials is that it looks like Dickerson's okay. There's some initial concern after he took that knee to the head. And now everyone waiting for the call right here. And it's going to be a big one with under 5 minutes left.
It sure is going to be a big one.
After review, the call on the floor stands. Common foul.
All right, so nothing extra.
I think we're both fine with that. Gene's fine with that.
So it will indeed be a 2-shot foul for Dickerson with 4:58 left and a chance to cut this thing now back to a 1-score game.
Not a bad shooter at the line. You see his numbers, 69%.
I'll get more sports coverage than ever before in the Bleacher Report app. Be sure to download the all-new Bleacher Report app today.
If you're Andy Toole, what are you thinking about here down the stretch?
Well, I think you just keep encouraging your guys to be patient with the basketball, watch for the lobs, and watch for those good pick and rolls that Alabama likes to run. Will they get Nelson involved also? Here he comes down the middle of the floor. This is where he's good. You know, you got Sears here with a mismatch. I'd get out of it. I wouldn't set a screen. I'd let Sears go one-on-one with him.
The first team All-American sizes up Fulgaris on the deck, and they're going to get the big man now. Sears on the drive. He's just such a load, as that's going to put the Colonials in the penalty. 1-and-1 for Sears.
It's great to have a guy shoot the free throws as well as he does at 85%. I love the fact that Youngblood got out of that play. Get away from him. Don't set a screen when you have a mismatch out front. Let one of the most talented guards in the country do what he does well.
Mark Sears, who began his collegiate run about a 3-hour drive south from here in Athens, Ohio, at Ohio University, led the SEC gym in free throws taken and attempted this season, and he was 8th in the country in free throw makes. There's his pop Chad looking on here. Nervous moments of a father.
Is it ever?
Watched his son lead this program to the Final Four, first ever in the history of the program. His mom, Lamika. Can they hold on here? 6-point lead with 4.5 minutes left. This is DJ Smith. Omajafo into the paint. Good wall up. Diabate. Sensational defense.
It's going to be Dickerson probably going the other way, though.
And again, a 1-and-1 situation. Both teams are in the penalty. 8th team foul against the Colonials.
It's through the lane. There's the size, though, once again. And I watch Little late getting in. Yep, that's a good call. Spear, when you think about what Robert Morris is doing right here, and Andy Toole is doing a terrific job. Win or lose, this is a great game for him. But the last 5 games that Alabama has played against competition, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, then Robert Morris.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's given him a great game. The SEC is so powerful this year, but just never know what can happen.
Diabate missed it, loose ball foul, and they're going to say stay here. More free throws. Again, it'll be a 1-and-1. As now Bama starting to crash the offensive glass. They haven't had many offensive rebounds today.
Look at Nelson working his way in.
He's really put his imprint on this game quickly. It's on Dickerson. That's his 3rd.
Yeah, I can see why people are a little annoyed maybe. There might have been a left forearm by Nelson guiding the first guy there, blocking it out.
You know, Jim, you mentioned how incredible is the officials, by the way, they're still having a conversation here. You know, they're going to confirm it. And they will indeed put Nelson at the line. So 1-and-1. Alabama's just 4 of 8 at the free throw line today. Nelson, the North Dakota State transfer. Missed it.
I was just going to say, Spear, they can't come down with the defensive glass, but they found a way to get that one.
Woods off balance. No. Nelson clears.
He's searching for fouls, Woods, but just can't.
Boy, excellent play. Dickerson
was one of the premier shot blockers in the country. Broke it up. Diabate was skying to finish.
Need a good one right here if you're Robert Woods. Robert Morris, excuse me. Woods probably not going to be involved.
Fulgaris.
Offensive rebound, Dickerson. They're 15th in the game. Woods from deep. Robert Morris is 5 of 23 from 3. Sears taking contact. It's going to be the 4th against Dickerson. Boy, Dickerson a little bit of a push with that arm. Officials quickly separating them. We'll see if there's anything more here. Mark Sears, the lead. Alabama's lead is 8 here in Cleveland. All right, there's a game reset. 3:24 left regulation. Mark Sears completes the three-point play. So it's a 9-point lead for Alabama. So Robert Morris took its first lead at the 7:10 mark of the second half. Since that point, it's an 11-1 run for Bama. Do the Colonials have one more push? Vulgaris underneath. Omajeffo, the former Division II player out of Gannon in Pennsylvania.
Got a nice delay to get him that basketball in the right spot.
7-point game as we hit the 3-minute mark.
Whoa.
Boy, Woods.
Pretty good effort, but I think he just didn't get out there quick enough.
And that's going to be the 4th on Woods. So both Woods, Jim, and Dickerson are going to be playing here with 4 personals each.
You know what? I'm not so sure about that. He's not either.
And now that's the 10th against the Colonials. So 2 free throws for Alabama from this point of the game forward.
I thought when Woods jumped at him, I thought just instinctively he would have kind of ridden up his back a little bit. I think he avoided him just then, going for that basketball.
You're just starting to talk about how good the SEC was, maybe the deepest conference this year in the history of the sport. And here comes Robert Morris out of the Horizon League. It's just a reminder, Jim, at how wide open the field is now with the transfer portal and how everything's changed in the sport.
The veteran teams, when you look at how long they've been playing college basketball, you're absolutely right on that. I mean, guys just don't get frazzled much. And I'm looking at Woods right now. He's 2 for 17, but he's still handling the ball. Let's see if he tries to. He shouldn't have picked up that dribble. You got to be careful. See if he makes something happen.
Here's Smith. Beautiful setup. Dickerson. Vulgaris. The tip underneath. Boy, maybe some contact. The Colonial bench screaming for a foul. Sears dribbles it off of his foot, and he's going to get a timeout. For the basketball smarts of Mark Sears. Big break for Bama. Closing minutes here in Cleveland. Boy, what a performance by Robert Morris. Little school from just west of Pittsburgh, making the 125-mile trek here. You see where these two teams sit. Winner of this one moving on to take on the winner between Vandy and St. Mary's. That's the second game of our 4 here in Cleveland. What are these two coaches thinking about, Jim?
Alabama obviously in control, and I think what Andy Toole has to do defensively is really focus in on getting one stop, trying to get the ball. Well, somebody grabbed Sears just then.
2 free throws.
Might be Smith. You can't just give them away if Sears is the one going to the line. And watch him coming now. He's going to ride. Yeah, and they're holding him. They're not looking for so much to give him the basketball underneath there at that point. But you have to let him run, and you put an 85% free throw shooter right back to the line again.
Alabama 7th most free throws of any team in the country, thanks in large part to their All-American Sears. Stream CBS Sports HQ, your free 24/7 snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. Highlights, in-depth analysis, breaking news, anywhere you are. Download the CBS Sports app to watch the day. Where Mark Sears playing like an All-American here down the stretch. 14 second-half points. Woods. Big shot for the Colonials. It's an 8-point game with 2:24 left. RMU hoping for one last push here in Cleveland. Alabama Crimson Tide, a team that was in the AP Top 10 all season. They got as high as number 2 in the country. Did it twice, once in November and then for a week in February. The powerhouse that Nate Oates has built down in Tuscaloosa. Getting everything they can handle from the Colonials.
They're getting an afternoon workout. Let's just say it that way. And now what you'll see strategy-wise defensively, Robert Morris probably try to double team the first pass coming in. Let's see if they can direct it to the corner. You do not want Sears to handle it and foul him. They go above the corner. That's a good pass.
Phylon gonna wait for his mace. Now creeps into the paint, near corner. Nelson slithers inside, coming with some heat.
Pretty good substitution by Nate Oates to get him into the game.
You think?
Wow, he's been impactful. And just a whole bunch of basketball plays in terms of the sixth sense he has to play this game.
Nelson trying to restore some order for the Tide. Inside of 2 minutes. Here comes Woods. And he takes a bump on the baseline. It'll be a 1-and-1 for Woods with 1:55 remaining.
Yeah, defensively, you think he's going to take that shot from long range, but he's too smart for that. Defensively, you kind of lean out, you're out of balance, and Nelson just finishes it off with a big-time jam.
Jim, I think that left knee is okay.
Yeah, it seems like it is.
So here's Cam Woods at the free throw line. Young man who grew up in Alabama. Bessemer knows this Alabama team really well. I told you he played AAU with Mark Sears. Bragging rights for those two in the summer. When they go back home, is Woods is going to be called on a reach-in, and if it's on him, he's done. Cam Woods, one of the stars and one of the big reasons why the Colonials have had just one of the all-time seasons in their history, is done for the day with 1:50 left.
Yeah, it's interesting to me throughout the tournament when you see guys come in who are really the lead players for teams and how other teams scout them, and a lot of times they shut them down. And Amori back in the floor with Nelson going to the bench, which I think is a real smart play and move by Nate Oates.
Andy Toole talking about Cam Woods yesterday. He said just can't get it out of his hands at the end of games. He wants to make the play for his team. He just sees the next play. So everything that they're losing now with him taking a seat on the bench. Smith nearly coughed it up. Boy, this is not what Nate Oates wanted. It's on Diabate. They're going to put them back on the free throw line. Still a 1-and-1. It's the 9th against Alabama.
Watch the arm, the left arm of Smith right here. As it comes out, I guess you could say he's helping to draw that foul a little bit.
Well, that's a veteran move by Smith.
It sure is.
They'll take any little help they can get with 1:46 left. Smith nearly 80% at the line on the season. Has to hit the front end. First year in the program for Smith. He played at Bowling Green last year. Little Rock for 2 years prior to that. Led them in threes. Trying to keep them close. And Cam Woods can only watch.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because I give him credit. He's 3 for 18, but he never really stopped being aggressive offensively. Unfortunately, Alabama's smart enough and good enough to finish it off.
1:46 left to play. Downtown Cleveland. First of 4 games here. Alabama. I'm sure a lot of folks around the country have them making a deep run through March, hoping that they could hold on here against the 15 seed Colonials from Robert Morris.
Put Nelson back in with the offensive side of the floor here.
Colonials are racing. Boy, Sears somehow saves it.
I think that's a walk. Yeah. I don't think anybody got him. He just lost his balance just then. Keep it interesting a bit. Nate Oates going to go back to the defense. Offense substitution. Let's see if anybody gets him. Loses control here. I don't know. I don't think so.
Alabama had a 12-point lead. Robert Morris came back, took a brief lead at the 7-minute mark of this second half. And then from that point forward, Alabama just retook control of the game. You saw Nelson taking his seat. As we come up on the final 90 seconds, Dickerson coming quickly. Back rim, missed it. Fight for it. What a pull by Diabate.
Go to the basket.
Back underneath Omajefo.
They needed a quick hitter, and they just got one there on the steal.
Going to try to extend this game 1:18 left, 8-point game.
That baseball pass is up for grabs.
The Abate, who touched it last, looked like it was off Smith.
I think that's
going to be Alabama ball.
The small guy got up quicker than the tall guy on that play. They got to try to keep this ball out of Sears' hands. Let's see.
Great look at it here. Terrific camera operators, our director Mike Arnold. Smith. And again, this Colonials team, Jim, just showing all kinds of fight. They're going to go to the replay monitor.
Who touched it last?
I have that being Alabama ball.
Definitive. I like that.
All right.
1:12 remaining.
And if it's not, I'm going to say you said it.
DJ Smith.
There's that.
And Diabate battling high above the floor. Gene, let's put you on the spot.
Now I'm with you. I think it's DJ Smith off. The next thing I'm looking at, Spiro, too, is when did the ball first get touched out of bounds? I think after DJ Smith is last to touch, the ball does land in bounds, and then you have a bounce, and then it's touched by I think a member of the Alabama team on the bench. So clock would be next. I think if you look here, you see Smith with the touch, hands above the Alabama player too, and I think he continues with it there as last to be on, in contact. I'm looking at time after that too, fellas.
Yeah, because Gene, just for those who don't understand that rule, it's a good point. It's not stopped until it hits out of bounds. Comes down on the floor, clock is still moving, and then either hits something on the floor or goes into the bench.
Exactly, Jimmy. And what I'm seeing on a couple of the shots that I have here, they may reset to 1 minute 13 seconds, but it's close there. But I do think it's going to be Alabama basketball.
Yeah, so that extra, as we thank Gene again. That
After
extra
review, the call on the floor of white ball is confirmed.
All right, we'll see if they add any time. Doesn't look like they will. So 1:12 left. 28 seconds to shoot for Alabama.
The challenge here is you want to make sure you keep the ball out of Sears' hands. But he's so good at it, and he wants the ball. Watch the way he goes for it. See, a lot of guys go away from the ball. The good guys go towards it.
Here comes the graduate player. Kicks out near corner Nelson. You can hear Sears telling him, hold it. Let's run that clock. They're going to force RMU to foul again. 2 shots.
Real good teamwork there with Sears and Nelson not taking the shot. Remember, about a minute ago, he turned down a 3 for a driving dunk.
And Dickerson has fouled out. The young man coming back home. When we touched on his story, grew up in the lower projects of this city, raised by his mom and his grandma. Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year, all-conference second team, and he has never been better under the brightest of lights.
And not everybody in this building is a Robert Morris fan, but everybody in this building gave him a pretty nice ovation, really appreciating what he just did out there. And this is a horrible feeling, but he can walk away saying he did his part.
Well, it's what makes this tournament so special. As Nelson rolls in the second. And Omori is going to come back in now with Nelson taking a seat.
You see the work that Nate Oates is doing with that offense and defense substitution. He's getting a lot of mileage out of Nelson. And he has the guy who can clog up the middle of the floor with Omori.
DJ Smith on a 3 as we are inside of a minute.
I think you get it out of his hands and then you foul somebody else if you can. He doesn't give it up that often.
Plett coming over, and he is going to foul Sears. Jimmy, think that Alabama's run to the Final Four last year. First time, of course, they got there. Their first-round game, they scored the most points by an NCAA tournament team in 16 years. They ran roughshod over Charleston in that game. This obviously a much different set of circumstances. Does it catapult them to another deep run? As they will await the winner between Vanderbilt and St. Mary's, assuming that they could hold on here in the closing seconds.
It's rare that you see teams do what Connecticut did when they went through this thing winning by 20 points a game, right? So Sometimes you see something different in this tournament, especially with the regular season and SEC that they played. This may kind of pull them together a little bit, little fight through the adversity. But look at this, they still managed to get 86 points.
Unbelievable, this offensive juggernaut. Folgaris lays it in. Colonial's not going quietly, that's for sure. 39 seconds.
Catch and foul.
9-point game, so they're going to try to extend this thing as much as they can. Omojafo the reach in. 38.3. Mark Sears, by the way, 69th game of his career with 20 or more points. That's most among any active player in the country. That outpouring of emotion already. 2 stars for Andy Toole's Colonials, Cam Woods and Dickerson both having fouled out. You know, one thing that Andy Toole mentioned, you know, with both of these guys coming into the program for the first time, you know, Cam Woods, a guy feisty who really mixed it up with the group early.
Yes.
He said, look, the reason we're here is because you guys didn't win. And he really changed the dynamic, the personality of the program and this team. Just amazing to watch this school have this kind of a season. This Prather on a 3, missed it. But they just ran into an Alabama team that is just loaded with talent. And a couple of seconds away from a trip to the round of 32.
And to give Nate Oates credit, his team regrouped, you know, to figure it all out. And on the other side, got to give credit to Andy Toole. He did a remarkable job preparing his team. These guys worked hard all afternoon.
All-time winningest coach in the history of the school, over 250 wins.
Probably some opportunities out there for him if he wants them, you know. Not to get in anybody's head or speculate what Andy Toole is thinking about, but he's really done a remarkable job.
Well, they're certainly hoping he'll stick around.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, because he's a good one.
Mark Sears missed time. Rare miss at the free throw line. 10 of 12 now. Sears at the stripe. Nearly 19 points per game, 3rd in the SEC this season. Only guy in the conference who was top 5 in both points and assists.
You touch on it a second ago, 13 free throw attempts. With an 85% free throw shooter, you're going to have good results at the end of games.
B.J. Smith putting Stevenson on his back.
Look who has the ball again. Oh, here we go.
Final 16 seconds. The Abate looking for the knockout blow. Final seconds here in Cleveland. Smith. Underneath to Plett. And Diabate not giving up any layups even there. With 1.6 seconds left.
Here comes the step across it. Plett just going in to make something happen. Little ball, but more of the left wrist.
So it's on Diabate. That'll be his 5th. So he has officially fouled out. And obviously the emotion cheering section for the Colonials. Their incredible ride is going to come to an end here in Cleveland.
Nice afternoon for Diabate too, wasn't it? He really was an impact player in that first half. 8 for 10 from the floor, 18 points.
A lot of contributors for Nate Oates. There's Ishmael Plett, the graduate born in the Netherlands. Mark Sears, congratulations for the Colonials as their magical season ends, as they fall in this first round matchup against one of the elite teams in the country. The 2 seed Alabama is through. They win it 90-81. And they will await the winner now between Vanderbilt and St. Mary's coming up next here in Cleveland. Mark Sears, spectacular, 22 points. Diabate, 18. Clifford Omari, sensational, 17 points. And Nate Oates has his Crimson Tide moving on here in Cleveland.
And John standing by with the head coach of Alabama.
All right, Nate, congratulations on a great win. How did you get separation there in those last 5 or 6 minutes?
We finally got some stops and got some defensive rebounds. I mean, they did a great job on the offensive boards. We didn't rebound it well enough most of the game, but you know, we got some defensive rebounds, got some buckets in transition, opened it up a little bit. But I mean, they're a good team. You got to give them a lot of credit. Dickerson was all over the glass. We didn't do a very good job on him. So I think Sears didn't want it to be his last game. You could kind of see his sense of urgency went way up. The second half, got himself to the rim, got some and ones, got to the free throw line, converted. That helped too. What was the breaking point in the second half where you said to yourself, we have to get Grant Nelson into this basketball game? I mean, when he told me he was ready, I think he sensed it. You know, we gotta go. We can't afford to lose this. He stood up, put me in. We were trying to get out of that game without playing him, but it does us no good if he doesn't play and we go home.
Thanks, Nate. See you Sunday.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it, John.
Spiro.
All right, congratulations to Nate Oates. Alabama wins it. They are moving on to the round of 32. Tournament games continue live now on CBS, TNT, and TBS. Vanderbilt and St. Mary's is coming up next on True TV. We'll send you to our studio for Capital One Tournament Central after these messages.